Attempt number 3. It is the Vibe Kage here with What If Deku was in a Quirk marriage? Deku is the son of Escanol and Merlin in this What If, which, if it doesn't make sense to y'all, because if y'all read the manga, well, congratulations. Escanor is not dying today. Instead, Mael comes in clutch last minute, saying he will take all the toll that Sunshine had left on Escanor, which will only just destroy his body. His spirit will still exist, and it pretty much gets merged into Sunshine, into Escanor, which merges with him even more, so Escanor lives. Merlin's just like, well then, I mean, we did just kiss. You know what? Arthur's dead. In this one, I'm not bringing back Arthur. No Kath Paul ending in this one. Because Merlin's just like, oh, didn't expect this. Fuck it. Alright, Escanor. Put a baby in me. Escanor's just like, huh? He's like, yeah. Like, come on. We'll go to a different future and everything. You know, the Sins are just like, what? Merlin, what are you talking about? And Merlin's just like, well, King Bartra told me that it was possible that my child would be in the future, which means all of us are going. And they're like, why all of us? I don't know, but it won't be temporary. If anything, we'd be there for maybe 15 years, and then our magic will be compelled to be back here. However, my son won't be able to go with us. That is the one thing I'm going to have to set up for him. So, let's go. So, I'm not going to get too into the logistics of how they get into the future. Just know Merlin's bullshit magic of infinity lets her open wormhole. They go into the MHA world. She has Deku, and, well, you know, the Sins aren't going to have their kids there, so they have this 15-year pause break, but they will be training Izuku the entire time. Merlin gets a job right away with a scientist named David Shield at Eye Island for her, you know, Merlin being the big brain, which, turn on my brightness ever so slightly. Though I can see if, like, the screen starts to go dark, because it starts fucking with me a lot. Anyway, Izuku, he is born, and surprise to everyone, like, and I mean everyone, Izuku was born with 2 wings. Yeah, I never said I wouldn't, but if you remember, Mael did kind of fuse into Escanor. So, I'm gonna say that made Escanor half angel. Deku, now quarter angel. I'm bullshitting. I'm not lying to y'all, he actually does have the wings. However, this, you know, being born, they're all thinking, oh, he has a quirk. And I'm like, the fuck is a quirk? You know, Gother uses his magic of invasion, tells them everything that they need to know. They say, well, our magical abilities, we can say that's what our quirks are. We'll fill out paperworks, and we should be fine. However, you know, here's where things, I'm gonna begin the story, like, instead of just the background. Because now that Izuku's born, he has a few teachers that are gonna help him master his ability, which, you know, when he's 4, he was actually able to wield Escanor's axe. He was able to use Lost Vein, Quarter Juice. What surprised everyone, he was even able to grab Gideon Yeah, a mini, like, Gideon got shrunk down, but it's still condensed, so it's just as heavy. It's just really small now. So yeah, he was able to use it just fine. Even creation, which they were like, what the fuck? Merlin's just like, yo, I didn't do anything to that kid. I did not experiment on my own son. Which, it sounds horrible, but curious. Why is he like this? So eventually they find, like, Merlin's tests help her understand that Izuku just he's like a magic affinity sponge. Like, it doesn't matter what magical ability you have, he can replicate it because he has an insane amount of his own magic. Pretty much like magic Sharingan without Sharingan. Since Meliodas was able to learn full counter, but that was not his innate magical ability. Izuku's is magical index, which, in a sense, he uses his magic to learn new abilities and such, which he pretty much uses all of Merlin's teleportation spells and making things appear, which he say it's part of his quirk. Which they don't know what to name it now, but Merlin says we're going to call it Sacred Treasures. And they're like, why is that? Because if we can't be here to protect Izuku, then Izuku will just have to use our treasures. Which everyone's just like, you're serious? Yeah, I am. That's my son. Bon is just like, yeah, I kind of like that little kid, so I don't mind. Gother's just like, this would be very interesting indeed. I would love to do some research notes with him. And yeah, King is just like, but how am I supposed to use this buried spirit chastity fold without... And Merlin's just like, you can make multiple ones, right? And this is when it hits, what's his name? King, right? Harlequin? Right? Harlequin. Yes. Because I always say King, but his real name, he's the Fairy King Harlequin. He could make multiple spears. And yeah, Izuku actually is trained throughout all combat styles of the Sins. And, well, unfortunately for him, since he's not immortal and regenerates like Bon, he did have to approach a more careful and tactical style. And, Bon even says, yo, my body is tough because I survived purgatory. Which, Merlin's saying, Izuku, you're not going into purgatory at the state you're in. Master the sacred treasures, and then maybe I will let you go into purgatory for a minute. Nothing else, nothing more. But we'll see. So no. Whether Izuku goes to purgatory or not won't be in this part. Maybe I do it in another what if. Oh well. So no. Merlin, she makes a special deal with her co-worker named David Shield, whose daughter has a unique quirk of her own. See, Melissa, her quirk is like on the pretty much the opposite side of what the Sins are. Rather than magic, it's a form of like tech control and hijacking, hacking. In a previous what if where I did Deku the tech support and hero course, I gave him a supercomputer brain. Well, in this one, it's a variant of that. Melissa's mother had the supercomputer brain quirk. Melissa has her father's quirk of tech manipulation and hacking. So she has a fusion of half and half called the hacker quirk. Which, yeah, it's just hacks. Like, literally, that's the nickname she gave her own quirk. Hacks. So, it's very hard to cheat on someone who has your phone password, huh? Oh, all your internet media, everything. She can just have it saved on a file for herself. But Melissa's not like that. She stole her canon persona. She still wants to, not a hero, but like a hero supporter, create the support items. She's still, of course, the niece of All Might. However, All Might was on the fence when he heard, like, David saying, "Oh no, I put Melissa in a Quirk marriage." Why, you may ask? Because, yo, I do a lot of fucked up ideas, and this idea came to me, but I'ma say All Might wanted Melissa. Like, he was drawn to her specifically. He does not know why, but unfortunately for him, it's not because of his own doing. It's something that All For One tried to do to, fuck with All Might, which he didn't even know. But in their last fight, he pretty much put a quirk that made him love wrong, in a sense. Like, he used a quirk that would get signals crossed on how you should, quote unquote, love somebody, to try and fuck up All Might, make him slip up, which I'm gonna address later. Just later. So, anyway, let's go to the perspective of Izuku, because he is 6 years old when he starts his training under Gother, because Gother's not the most physically adept, but has the most intellectual and magical prowess to share right off the bat. If we're being honest, you'd probably want to learn Invasion first, since Gother does shoot out, like, information on the Sin's histories to Izuku right away, like showing them, okay, this is how we all did it, this is how you're going to do it. Now we're just going to do the step-by-step process to make it easier. Deku is actually able to pick up Invasion in rather short time frame of 3 months. He learned how to use the Twin Bow Herret moves. That took him about another 2 months. So after 5 months of training, he finished the Sin Gother. Through there, he started to train with other holy knights in the Kingdom of Leonis. He, of course, practices his swordplay against Hauser, Gilthunder, Gila, and Jericho. And these four have a special combination move of wind, lightning, explosions, and ice, which they called it Cataclysmic Explosion, which it didn't hurt. It does hurt Deku, but one thing that they were surprised at, he absorbed all of the magical ability. All of it. He then took it within himself, pulled back a sword, which they're like, wait a minute, that looks like Lost Vein, no? And Meliodas just like, I wonder when he got my sword. Izuku then pulls back and says, revenge counter, which, they're all like, wait a minute. Did you teach him that move, Captain? Nope, I don't think I did. To which Izuku's just saying, like, Izuku just straight up says, he's been using Gother's ability to constantly, re-see and re-see all the times. Like, it works. So, he, in a sense, when he's sleeping, like, when Izuku, quote-unquote, sleeps, which what they thought he was doing, turns out it was like a form of mindscape training, which, yeah, don't think I was just gonna say for the sake of plot. No, in the mindscape, which Gother was just like, I wonder what that was. Which Gother's just like, what you mean? Like, let me try that again. Everyone was asking Gother, what do you mean? Gother's just like, well, I thought it was strange, because physiology, like, due to his physiology, he should not need sleep. Which they're like, huh? Due to Merlin having given him, like, infinite magic, he doesn't need to sleep, actually. He won't actually need to eat, drink, or anything. He could just use magic, since he won't run out. Which, everyone's just looking at Izuku just like, really? Izuku's just like, I didn't know that. Merlin's just like, eventually. They're like, what? Eventually he'll do that. Until then, I want him to stay like a good boy and eat, sleep, and drink normally, Gother. Am I clear? And Merlin's saying it with like this weird smile that feels so threatening. So Kothar's just like, okay, I get it. I will step off. I no mean harm. I come peaceful, yes. And let's see. I'm gonna say for the next, what is he? The next 7 years, he spends in Leonis training with the Sins, Elizabeth, the Holy Knights, and he was able to pick up some other Holy Knight abilities, but he was selective, because he's just like, I kinda just want to have the Sins. He did take up Bartra on. Sorry. He did take Bartra on his future visions, which he thought was fun. Two other abilities that I will say he did take is. Sorry, wasn't trying to yawn. Fuck. He took Elizabeth's healing magic and arc, which they were surprised at when he had arc, and then they remembered, oh yeah, Mael, angel DNA. So yeah, he is access to arc and all angelic magic, which Merlin's just like, I'm gonna have to teach him demon magic. So he is aware of like Perfect Cube, Extermination Ray, all the spells Merlin had, and you know what surprised everyone? When Merlin gave Izuku the same blessings that she was given. The two gifts that were given to her, she replicates and gives to Izuku, preventing him from falling under any form of mind control, and he is immune to all curses. Which, in the world of My Hero Academia, might not seem like much, but this does help one key thing. Since he can't be brainwashed, Shinzo's quirk no longer works. And then, by extension, since you could say when your quirk is erased, it's like a quick curse. So yeah, Aizawa, even if he could, but he wouldn't be able to, he can't erase any of the spells that Izuku does. Which I was gonna have originally, like, he could erase some of like the spells at least, but not the weapons, like, or neutralize the weapon's effects, but not the weapon itself, And then I'm like, let me just erase that part too. This also means All For One is not allowed to take Izuku's thing, which Izuku is the ancestor of quirks in a sense, one of the few people who still have access to magic. Through this magic, he's kind of free range to work with people's quirks. Not like steal them, but like if it's faulty or like say there's backlash, all he needs is one spell, and that backlash is pretty much erased. Because, Merlin's Infinity, cast spell once, you're good. Now, he is 12. There are 3 years left before Merlin, Escanor, and the Sins are completely sealed off from Izuku. Izuku is aware of this now. And he does cry until Merlin's saying, I've arranged something for you, Izuku. Which Izuku's just like, what? A quirk marriage. In this world, though it is somewhat outlawed, I also found a way around it. And a colleague of mine called David Shield has a daughter. Her quirk is gonna be like the antithesis to us. One of science rather than magic. Since our quirks are all deemed as emitter/magical types, we'll be fine. Izuku, please understand that though you are from the past, and telling them probably won't change ours, you should keep it a secret. Like, it's fine if you do tell Melissa, but if you tell her, only when you truly and honestly love her with all your heart and soul. And if that never comes, then you don't tell her. Izuku asks his mom, do I still gotta marry her though? And she says yes. This is something that both families had agree on. Eskino's just like, I didn't agree to this. And Merlin's just like, you didn't need to be there to agree. You know, just like, boy, hush. Sorry. So no, what could happen, you may ask? Well, due to Melissa's special scientific mind and quirk, which I want to say I said it already, but I don't know if it was in the last What If where I said it, it was fine, and then the video cut off and some audio. So I'll re-say it just to save my ass. She has a half and half quirk. Her mother's quirk lets her be, her mind is a supercomputer, which, like Sage from X-Men, which I'm gonna say this person was just like a distant cousin with the same ability. No, I'm joking, because that's mutants. But no, her mom had a supercomputer brain quirk, and David Shields' quirk is tech manipulation / hacking, where as long as he puts his hands on a computer, he could technically like integrate with it, use his mind, hack into it, and it's fine. But he has to physically touch the computer, or just have computers that he's already using his psychic connection on. Which, yes, his brain itself is not a supercomputer, though. That was the key difference. Melissa, being a love child of both, has both of these abilities. She has no limits. She hacks into people's things. She can control every single... like, even if like you shut off the emergency powers to a building, she could still use her ability, hack into the building, start using the building's abilities through her own. Which, once All Might hears about how strong his niece is, he goes and he visits her. He cares for Melissa. And fuck, I can't remember if I said it in this one or the other one either. Alright then, so what happens is that in the fight for All For One marked All Might with a quirk that confuses the signals of love for people, which, in a sense, All Might tried to have a relationship with a woman, and it failed because she never could fall himself in love with this woman. Instead, he always saw her like maybe just as a younger sister at the most. And this hero was Midnight, of course, so that failed. But it was really weird when he tried again with another hero. I'll say this one, it was Ryuko, and that also failed. And he's just like, yo, what the fuck? Why can't I? Like, and this is where it gets really fucking disturbing, guys, because All For One is the one who caused this. This is not All Might's doing. This is All For One. All Might just got the short end of the stick. So, in a sense, what he had done to All Might, when I say he confused the signals of love, is whenever he feels the love for a family member, it is then magnified and multiplied by the love of someone you would feel as a sexual partner. Which, you know, I'm gonna say David and All Might still had a fight, so they weren't on the best terms, but they were still good friends. All Might would never say he still loves David. He's just like, it's more like a strong workplace like. However, he still meets his niece Melissa, and well, he will, but yeah, it's just like They do some scans. They realize there's something infecting All Might. They don't know what it is yet, but definitely something. All Might saying, "Thanks, David." Tell Melissa I say, "Hey." David then tells, "Oh, something you should know, All Might, is that I have her in a Quirk marriage." All Might's just like, "How could you fuck her?" Just like, chill. The mother is actually is dying soon. The father is not in the picture, and, well, I guess I figured, well, Melissa normally gets along well with these type of boys, and All Might is asking what kind of fuck motherfucker, what kind of boy is he? Which David Shields saying he has a weapons materialization quirk, and something about his grandfather's wings as a quirk too. Which they're like, huh? What kind of weapons does he materialize? They then go into detail with, the sword, the spear, the axe, the warhammer, the four-section staff, the double bow Herret, and then the twin star Aldeon. Was it Aldeon? I think I might have just said Star Wars, actually. Fuck. No, it's the Morning Star. Is it Morning Star? Alright then. So, Aldeon. Morning Star Aldeon. That is Merlin's sacred treasure. So yeah, no. And he's just like, wait, what's a Morning Star? And he's just like, it's like a weird crystal ball. And All Might just starts laughing. Oh, tell me that the science genius David Shield didn't marry his daughter to fucking wizards. Which, David's just like, I'm pretty sure that kid could whoop your ass. Which, All Might's just like, not even possible. And then, this is when David pulls up a record of Izuku fighting some robots. Which surprises All Might. Because he's just like, wait, that's the boy? He's only you said he's 12, right? Then why does he look like he's a full-grown adult? Which, they're saying, you should have seen his father. And they're like, what do you mean? His father was 7 foot, All Might. And All Might's just like, wait, I'm only 6'6". Yeah, that boy gonna be huge. So, clearly, you can take your judgmental self away, All Might. My daughter gonna be fine. Giant motherfucker over there is gonna protect her. Just fine. Which, All Might feels pissed off of this, So, it happens. Not too much to worry about. But this caused like a slight strain on them. So All Might did not talk to them for about 4 years. Which, oh well. Which, why am I making All Might not be part of the story right now? Well, here's the thing. UA is still a high school. Izuku does get in when he is 14. And so does Melissa. But All Might, for 2 years, he's still not going to be at UA. Because I don't need him there for what the story entails. Because this is the ship marriage of Deku and Melissa, who are now about to meet at the age of 12. So, let's get with that part. Of course, Deku was nervous meeting his future bride, knowing that his parents are going to be gone in 3 years, and that, this world that he was born into is the world that he's pretty much going to be, in a sense, their number one hero, but to him it's like the Holy Knight Chief, which, really weird, but oh well. Izuku's relatively fine with this. And then he meets Melissa. Melissa, she's like her canon self, so she's blonde, blue hair, glasses, and yeah, Izuku's just like, I think I'm gonna like it here. And they get along really well. They eat soba together. They get ice cream. They're on Island having fun. And this is where, the events of the movie happens. Here's the key difference, though. There's no All Might. There's no quirk enhancing drug like machine. Instead, it's just it's not Wolfgram. Alright, slight break. I saw this and this is just too funny not to do.
On Piano Prince. Then why has to be? Oh, sorry. Was I being too loud?
Let me see, nerd! Dunceface said you got one, but I call bullshit until you show me!
You should have just asked me and I would have shown you, jerk.
It wasn't lying. It's real.
And yes, the baseboard does match the curtain rods.
Nani?
Alright then, sorry. Like, it was just so fucking funny. Fuck. It's because what I was originally looking for was a clip of, like, Melissa and Deku, but someone had audio, like, they changed the subtitles where instead of their normal conversation, it's just like Deku saying, short kings like to be called daddies too, which, I fucking was dying. Like, Deku was just saying, like, he wanted to smash, and, like, Melissa's just like, nah, I can't, but I can give you some sloppy toppy. Deku's just like, I would love me some sloppy toppy. Well, Raku fucking shows up and saying, the fuck you say, Deku? Which, that's what I was looking for, but, couldn't find it. And I just, you know what? Nah, fuck it. I couldn't find it. So, no. Anyway, Izuku and Melissa, they meet. They actually get along pretty well. Izuku doesn't have the obsession with All Might, which, I'm gonna say Melissa, yes, she wants her uncle to, like, be more around, but, like, him not being there causes her not to, have the same, like, Uncle All Might type shit. Or, yeah. No, instead it's just like, oh, All Might, yeah, let me go get my father type shit, which, oh well. It sucks, but 'tis the path he is on. Because All Might, he's trying to figure out what the fuck to do, because he knows something's wrong with him, but he don't know how to, like, tell people. Sorry, guys. Not trying to yawn, but oh well. So, no, for the next 2 years, as, Merlin, Escanor, David, Melissa, and Izuku, they spend all types of quality time together. Which, I know I was just about to talk about the villains attacking, but I'm gonna change it into where it's like just at the age of 14 instead of 12, which faster than the movie canon, but right before the show canon, So, it's in the summer. Izuku, he's there. He's having fun with Melissa. They haven't really done anything too extreme, just like a light hand holding. They've shared a kiss or two on the cheek, but never, like, too extreme, Melissa's just like, I mean, we're gonna be married, so I guess we don't have to rush this, but Izuku's just like, you got a point. Which, I'm not gonna lie, when Izuku found out about what a quirk marriage was supposed to be, Meliodas was the first guy telling him, this is all the things you gotta do. And then, like, he just lists all the things that he does with Elizabeth. So, he's saying, you gotta do all that with her just to make sure she, you like her, Which Izuku's just like, I hate you so much, uncle. But when he sees Melissa's body, he's just like, I hate the fact that I want to, because wrath, which is really weird, because I don't know. Alright then. All my, I'm gonna say for right now, let's just forget about him. So, don't worry, he's not gonna be in this attack, which Wolfram, when he shows up with his henchmen, they don't have All For One backing him up, so it's just like a few fodder villains, honestly. It's even before he has a good, reputation. So, he tries to come after them. Merlin's just like, okay, I'll handle. Nope. Deku's just sticks out his hand and he's just like, this is gonna be fun. He snaps his fingers, which no one knew why he did that until a portal above him just spits out a spear, which it's floating. Everyone's just like, what the fuck is that? Izuku then says, Spirit Spear Chastity Fold. 5th configuration, increase, which turns into a bunch of those mini throwing knives. Now, it's not the true Spirit Spear, where it's in its golden form. No, it's still in its, suppressed, dormant form. So yes, he does increase, and then he just sends the knives towards them, causing, the villains to try and dodge. Wolfram with his metal kinesis thinking he can do this, but when he realizes he can't bend the metal, he gets cut the fuck up and shredded. He doesn't die, though. Izuku's making sure they don't die. He just pincushioned him a lot. He missed all the fatal spots. Which, it sounds fucked up, but, he didn't even hesitate. Izuku's just like, They trying to fuck up my family. I hold no restraints. Which, David, terrified. Melissa is just like, since we're already gonna be married, does premarital sex count as a sin if it's gonna be between us two? She's starting to rationalize, do I have to actually wait until the marriage? Because she's just like, yo, Dad, I know you said we were gonna marry, outside of high school, but, I really do like this kid, so can we move up that marriage date? Shit like that. And nah, right now, Melissa does wear the engagement ring, and Izuku wears a wedding band on his left hand, which, when they go out together, it's a couple. They know. And I'll say, for the sake of fun, I was trying to pop my back and nothing happened, just hurt. One day they're out, they're getting, they hear it's almost time for the UA entrance exams. Izuku saying he's gonna go, he wants to apply, but, what about you? Which, Melissa's just saying, she wraps her arms around Izuku, and, wait, I think I actually have a good photo for this. There we go. This is how tall Izuku is compared to Melissa. Right now, at least. Do not repost, do not copy, trace, or edit. I'm not doing anything. I just saw it, got it recently. Oh well. So no, Izuku, he's, wondering what Melissa's thinking about. She's just saying, well, I don't have to live on Island anymore. You have your own apartment here, right? She nuzzles her head in his chest. She then says, let's just move in together. Away from my dad, away from the island. I got so sick of, just being on there. I kind of just want to stay in the city with you, Izuku. Which Izuku smiles, saying, okay, let's do that. Which, David was on the fence about. Merlin's just like, I got the place ready. Just sign these papers. David is just like, what the fuck? Did you know this was going to happen? Merlin's just like, I thought it might, so I had this ready. So David's just like, I'm gonna miss working with this crazy bitch. Well, he doesn't say bitch because he's not trying to have Escanor bench him and snap him like a quick try. Cause he's just like, I'm gonna miss this crazy person. You're one hell of a worker, Merlin. Right now, Inko. Because, yeah. I want to say I covered that already, but Escanor has the alias of Hasashi, and Merlin has the alias of Inko. And Izuku is still Izuku. They are all quote unquote Midoriyas. Well, Izuku's a Midoriya, but Merlin and Escanor, they just have the name to have the name. Which it isn't bad at all, but it's kind of weird. Because to them it's like, why do I even need a second name? I'm just Merlin, daughter of Balualian. I am Escanor, wielder of sunshine. And then there's Izuku Midoriya, which I'm gonna say his hero name will be Mael. And he says it's after a really good friend of his family, like a good family friend that he never got to meet. But if this family friend didn't intervene, then Izuku probably would have never been born. So Izuku's hero name will be Mael. His quirk is listed as the Sacred Treasures. And let's see what else. I'm trying to think. I technically caught up to the other recordings, and this being the third time I try, and it's almost 4 o'clock. I kind of want to end it, upload it, but nah. I got a little bit left. There's still a little bit left for me to do. Bro, it'd be useless because Asta don't know like anything to be a doctor. Alright then, I'm back. No. I realize I'm silent during this thing, but I'll let those two guys just be in the thing. I'm sorry. I might just end up muting that if it bothers me. Oh well. I thought I lost my train of thought now. Wait. No. I remember. Let's see. Yeah, it is difficult. You gotta have some things that make some what ifs. You can't. Okay. Asta, Black Clover, literally BC time with magic people. You can't give them a black-like virus that was invented modern day times and then just yeet it back into the past. That don't work. Asta was too stupid to own the Ope Ope no Mi because it is a fruit designed for a fucking doctor to use. Legit, you have to have medical background knowledge on this. And in Black Clover, they use magic for shit like that. They don't have like the same, we got surgeries and all this shit. No. So like, I can't do that. Like, that is like the worst combination you can give Asta, is trying to make him a doctor. No. But what if Asta was smart? No. not, no, just, no. It's not a fun script to me. Does not pique the interest. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, fuck. I'm gonna have to like put there's like a slight moment in the 40-minute mark where I got off topic for a good minute. Oh well. I don't care. Let's get back to the story with Izuku and Melissa sharing an apartment, which, you know, they're moving in. They're happy. Their neighbor is this brown-haired girl with round cheeks. Yes, it's Uraraka. No, she not part of the ship, guys. It's the canon ship, and I only plan to do 2 ships with where Deku actually does date Uraraka. That being Deku, son of Broly's, and then a subscribe amount special that it's quite a far ways away, guys, so don't worry too much, but yeah. No, so Izuku, Melissa, they meet Uraraka, they introduce themselves, they say who they are. They say they're already engaged. Uraraka is just like, yo, you're okay with this? They nod, saying, yeah, I mean, she's science, and I guess you could say I'm the magic, which Uraraka's just like, the fuck? Izuku shows off his wings, pulls out all 7 swords, and he's saying his quirk is called Sacred Treasures, and Melissa's quirk is called Hackers. Or Hacks. You know, no, Hacks, just Hacks. Her quirk is just called Hacks, which, you know, when Uraraka's saying, well, what's Hacks? It lets me hack into computers, control computers, my brain is a supercomputer, and then, like, I can control computers with my mind. Without even having to, like, actually touch them. Which Uraraka's just like, yeah, hacks, just fucking hacks. Izuku, and she looks at Izuku, so, Sacred Treasure? Yeah, I summon these 7 weapons, each 7, and out of these weapons, they get like a sub ability, if you will. And she's just like, so you have multiple quirks? Yes, no, yes. Which, I don't know. I had to train to use them, so it's kind of different. Which, he first uses Lost Fane, does his 5 clones, and says, like, so the total sum of my clones equals half of my total strength. You know, so they're not necessarily the strongest, but the added ability is, and she's just like, what? We can actually swing back force, any form of energy. Which she's just like, what do you mean? And she's like, Izuku's just like, I got it. Hey, Melissa, bust out that laser. Which she pulls out a little miniature laser pen, and Ruka's just like, oh, cute. And then she just clicks the button of it and shoots out a laser that just burns through her cabinet door, which Uraraka's just like, oh, deadly. And Melissa's just like, yeah. So she points it at one of the clones at Izuku, shoots it. Izuku says full counter, shoots it to a different clone. The blast grew double the size, and they all started passing it on. All 5 of the clones then sent it to Izuku, which Izuku just sticks out his hand and just crushes the blast. Once it hits it, it's just, and he's just like, huh, that's strange. And Uraraka's just like, how? Like, what was that? And Izuku's just like, yeah, I call this one Demon Sword Lost Vein. Which it lets me, as I said, split myself. Of course, the 5 clones total equal half of my strength, but the added benefit, if you will, is that it takes almost no strength for me just to reflect back someone's attack like that. Whether it be energy or a physical one, which she's just saying physical, Izuku's just like, yeah, if I use the same motion, it doesn't have to be a sword. It could even be a spoon, if you will. But she's just like, no. Izuku just says, here, toss me a spoon and then throw a punch. Uraraka does. Izuku says full counter. Sends Uraraka back, and Uraraka's just like, ow, that hurt. Izuku just heals her, which she's just like, wait, what was that? And Izuku's just saying, yeah, I know how to heal. Which Uraraka's just like, what? Like, what are you two? Just like, all I can do is just fucking make things float and then vomit. Just, what the fuck? This isn't fair. And then, this is when Izuku's saying, yeah, it's the main reason why our parents wanted us to get together, but lucky for us, we actually like each other. So, yeah. Izuku just, similar to this, he puts his hand around Melissa and brings her in close. Melissa blushes a little bit because she's just like, yo, um, you normally do, you normally grab my shoulder when you do that, like in front of people. When you do the waist thing, you you're saying you want Small Might action. Like Small Might wants to play Izuku, and like, Izuku's just like, he does. Let's leave. Just like trying to be polite, but yeah, they do meet all at UA. Melissa is going to be in the support course instead of the hero course, which Izuku's not too mad about, but it does annoy a lot of the support course heroes that one of their hottest chicks is dating the hero guy. They're like, no, how dare he try and steal our woman? Like, Izuku's just like, yo, we're engaged. Like, Melissa lifts up her left hand, Izuku shows off his left hand. They see the rings and they're like, huh? But didn't school just start? What is this shit? So yeah, Izuku also, once he's in 1A, because, guys, he's gonna wreck the robots, he's gonna get first place. There's no reason to go over it. So, let's continue to, and of course, Quirk application tests don't work well, because Izuku's just gonna use physical bronze rather than his weapons, and still get first place. Like, legit, there's no way for him not to get first place in everything. He's too OP. I had him train with the Sins and Holy Knights. Not just... So yeah. That and that, Mael physiology, that also does him good. Which, it's not too bad, but not too good. Izuku, let's see. Where was I going with this? Yes, Izuku has one little thing now that him and Melissa do have that alone time. I'm gonna say he is following Meliodas' advice with Melissa, so he does grab her more often when they're alone, which Melissa was like, Izuku, wait until we're married. Like 2 months later, it's just like, why aren't you touching me yet? Just like, and Izuku's just like, oof, she more wild than I thought. Like, Melissa's more like a reverse female Meliodas, where rather than always wanting to touch you, she always wants to be touched by you, and it's only Izuku. So, yeah. Because, Meliodas only wanted to touch Elizabeth. Oh, fuck. I am tired. I need to put my phone to charge. I don't want to. Dude, I see that all the goddamn time with Sans. No, I will not do any versions of Sans. It's overdone. It is overdone. So, back to the what if. Deku and Melissa, after, like, a few days in classrooms, like, Melissa asks, is there, like, anyone there who, like, I should worry about? Or, like, is there, like, some problems with any of the boys? Something like that. Caring about Izuku. Izuku just tells her, well, I guess there's this one kid who does look at me weirdly. His name is Shoto Todoroki. think he's like you, a half and half user. Like a combination of his parents' quirks, but I don't know. He keeps on just giving me this weird look. I don't know. Is it bad that I want to fold him? And Melissa's just like, yes, that is still very bad, Izuku. I, like, she blushes a little bit because she's just like, ah, you used to be so sweet and now you're just so, like, aggressive. Like, Melissa's just like, she don't hate it. Like, she's enjoying this. She enjoys aggressive Izuku. She likes when Deku get mean, angry, rough. Ah, cringe. Just cringe. So no, yeah, they have their fun chemistry thing, which Melissa is kind of like Izuku's little sub, but not to an extreme point, my guys. Just everyone knows that Izuku is just like the true alpha male, which whatever he says to Melissa, Melissa's just like, yes. Which one time she did slip up at school and says, yes, daddy. And all the girls are just like, wait, what? Izuku. Like, they're all staring at Izuku just like, yo, what made you earn that nickname? And Izuku's just like, none of your damn business. Just like straight up, just like curb checking these hoes. Just like, nah, be gone, thought. Which, annoys the fuck out of these hoes. But, oh well. And just because I want to do someone dirty for 1A, I'ma say Higakure. Higakure goes to Izuku because Izuku looks clean, he looks muscular, he's fresh as shit, my dude. And she like whispers like, I'm not wearing any underwear. And Izuku's just like, doesn't matter because I can't see you anyway. Just like, oof. She's just like, he's so mean. And yeah, which he doesn't tell Melissa about because he knows Melissa's about to shoot her. Just like, just say the word, boo. Just say the word. I got some new prototypes for you. And Izuku's just like, I can make my own weapons. You know that, right? And Melissa's just like, yeah, but those other things you showed me, which they both turn red because Izuku knows what she's talking about. And if y'all don't know, y'all don't know. Oh, fuck. I'm gonna say she does make him a special type, a pistol, like a gun that has no room for bullets. In a sense, it's just where he can either charge his magic or just the actual arc, and then shoot out those bullets, like either magic bullets or arc bullets, which hurt the fuck out of people. Arc bullets, oh my god, that one damn near destroyed Dark Shadow. Like, for real, Izuku's just like, Arc! Dark Shadow, no! They're like, where'd it go? I think I killed your Quirk. No! How will I be Tsukuyomi now? Said Tokoyami. Nah, I'm just fucking with y'all. In fact, Deku and Tokoyami do have a really good friendship in this one. Why? I want to. I'm gonna just make him be like super chill. Why? Because Deku has a sword called Demon Sword Lost Vein. Of course he's gonna think that's tough. He's just like, can I see your sword? Sure. And Tokoyami's just like, yo, this is insanely light. And Izuku's just like, I know, right? Super sharp too. Which it is, because I'll say Tokoyami just, oh, fuck. Alright, I'm back. Tried not to yawn, but I failed drastically. So no, Tokoyami, he takes Izuku's knife, like, just looking at it, examining it. Class 1A isn't all in yet, so what's the point? There's no damage, right? Izuku says, go ahead and try out a full swing if you want, which Tokoyami does, and he's surprised at how quick that shit just went through the air. It's just like, it's almost like there's nothing attached. And Izuku's just like, right? So thin, so sharp. and go like, try swinging downward, which I'm gonna say Tokoyami do. Like, he raises up his arm, and then just swings straight down. However, when he was swinging straight down, I'm gonna say Tokoyami's friend, who transferred into the school with him, who, if y'all want to be the ship with him, just let me know. Mina. Yes, Tokoyami, Kirishima, and Mina were a trio. In this one, Kirishima, he in 1B, and Kendo in 1A. Because, yeah, I have a plan with Kendo, which I'll explain later. Sorry. So no, Izuku, he's pretty much like surprised that, Tokoyami, he goes straight down. Mina says, Tokoyami! He's like flinches. So like, rather than stop, he continued to go straight down. And he cut his desk in half. Which, Deku, Tokoyami is just like, fuck. Mina's just like, what was that? Izuku's just like, snaps his fingers and makes it disappear. Tokoyami's just like, yo, how do we do this? And Izuku's just like, I want to say you on your own, but alright then. Let me just, like, he tells Tokoyami, grab one end, and he's gonna put them together, and yeah. And I'll say Momo was watching this, and Momo was just like, he has a creation quirk? So she does get up and slowly walk towards them. Happy 420, everyone. I just noticed that in the corner. Oh well. So no, Izuku, he talks to, like, Tokoyami, Mina, and Momo, saying, the sword. Yes, my quirk is called Sacred Treasures. I make 7 weapons, and I can control them however. And then Izuku's just like, I do have wings, but that's more from, like, my grandpa. So, here's the thing. When he refers to his wings, he'll say his grandpa. And when he says, where did you get your hero name? He'll say family friend. That's it. He knows they're the same person, but to everyone else, they can just mind their own goddamn business, So yeah. And quick application test. Deku still comes in first because he's broken OP strong. Who else? Heroes versus villains. Team Bakugo and Ida versus Team Izuku and Kendo. Why? Because I want Kendo to tag team with Izuku because I have a fun idea. So no, Kendo's in her, like, it was like a gi, like, right? Like, her hero costume. Izuku sees it, and he's just like, oh, very nice. Like, complimenting her. Like, Kendo's just like, thanks. You look nice, too. Which, I know exactly. This is Deku's hero costume, because it doesn't really matter if, like, he has any gear or not, because he can heal himself, he can summon 7 sacred treasures, and, yeah. So he does, like, this in homage of Bon, which I saw Bon wearing it, so, yes. And he does have a hole through the back, too, for his wings to come out. Which, now I'm like, why do you have a hole in your chest, too? And Izuku's just like... he's just like... Would be a funny way for him to say it. I know. He's just like, oh. And he looks at Mineta, saying, well, I know that little pervert was staring at every girl's chest. And he's just like, maybe, like, he'll stare at mine, too. And everyone's just like, wait, what? And Izuku just starts laughing, saying, I go like, Nah, he's just saying. In all honesty, it's probably one of his teacher's faults. Like, because Izuku's personality is a mix of the sins, but mostly Bon and Meliodas. So, trickster, like Bon, like, yeah. So, but he also does have that Bon, like, alright then, you piss me off, I'ma fucking kill you. Which, yeah. Izuku, like, it's kind of weird. Like, despite him spending time with all the sins, Bon and Meliodas impact him the most. Which, you know, Escanor was just like, this is supposed to be my son, what the fuck? But, no, no, no. Don't worry, Escanor. Izuku still makes you proud. He will. He will. Because. I'll get to that later, actually. I hate myself. Yeah? The Vibe Kage. Like, on you. You know. I really hope that is the Izukage because I love his what ifs. I'm not gonna lie. If that is the act, like, if I'm not being trolled myself and that is Izukage, like, I hope, then yay. Because I do love his work, guys. I'm gonna end this video soon. I'm gonna just check my subscriptions because, yes, what if stream all so y'all can see what yeah, towards the end of this so y'all can see what I'm subscribed to. Edosa Buckley, Alexander XR, Alice in Wonderland. She is Bay. She is one of my favorite EDM artists of all times. Let's see. Anime Balls Deep, Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime Sage, Anime Ball Z, Anime Junkie, Anime Uproar, Binging with Babish Calling Universe. One of my favorite ones. Oh my god, yes. Love binging with Babish. Black Tiger Sex Machine. Very good band. Chef PK. My god. Guys, like, I watch almost every single thing of his. I just not seen any of Coffee with the Cook yet because, oh well. But bro, look at this. All of this Food Wars. Look at this. All of it. All of it. Just god tier food. I love him. Chef PK, if you're watching, oh my god.
Is this one of those ads that makes you want a Reese's?
No. I do like Reese's, but there's no reason for me to have that. Which,
Here are your caramel apple nut waffles. Enjoy. Wow! I've been wanting to try these out forever now. Just look at them.
I'm back. You're lying, April, dude. It's such a sad anime, and I love it so much. Oh yeah, I got a text from the Izukage. I love his work on YouTube. I don't think I ever pulled it up. In case y'all don't know Izukage, which I'm pretty sure I spelled it right. Yeah, Izukage. Yes, this man, the myth. You know, it'd be this one. Subscribe to my dude, like for real. Like guys, he has What If Deku Was a Son? Oh my gosh, his What If Deku Was Black? One of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorites. I also the zombie apocalypse one. I saw that one and I enjoyed it too. Also, what if Deku had the Death Note one shot? Come on, guys. Show him some love. Like, how do you not want to? You know, Naruto having the Rinnegan, Deku having a shapeshifting quirk. So yeah. Watch his clips, guys. He's also a really good YouTuber. The Chosen Weeb, of course. through all Koge and perfect Jinchuriki. Eventually. Or maybe in another. What if? Alright then. Which, I'm gonna just see this.
Yes.
Oh shit. Alright then. I mean, I don't know who were the two that disliked, but okay. To the other near 400 people who liked, I think I'm gonna have to upload part 2 soon. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to upload part 2 soon. You know what? Thank y'all, and I love y'all. Thank y'all for vibing with the Vibe Kage, and I'll put my phone to charge, and I'm gonna go fix some shit up for myself, I guess. Oh shit. Be put in such a position that they have. Question, now that I think about it. Is it weird for YouTube to recommend me my own YouTube clips? Should I feel arrogant or prideful? Mix of both? That's kind of how I think of it. Like, oh, you like these what ifs? How about you watch this one? Hey, wait a minute. That's my own. Yeah, watch it. Is that not condescending? Like, is it like it does? I'm not trying to make it seem like I have a big ego if I watch my own YouTube clips, right? Like, it occurs to me that's a thing, but oh well. Nice. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, before I even posted my what ifs, he was posting what ifs that I saw, I enjoyed, I knew, like, yo, I definitely got to get on this what if ship. So, yes, I feel like he is underrated with those subscriber numbers, guys. Let's help him out. Just a little bit now. Help out the Izukage. Come on. We could, like, I'm not saying when, but who knows? Maybe me and him could do a collab, because I have other people who are helping me with the collaborations. The What If Deku Was Unlucky was a collaboration idea. And this one was also a collaboration idea. You know, Quirk marriage and Deku being the sins. Also, because you guys are voting on the polls, you guys get to help me make the what ifs, which I also enjoy. Um, I've already said goodbye a lot in this, so sayonara, motherfuckers.